Welcome from Dope CFO. I'm going live this morning to talk about petty or not so petty cash. Um, we've heard about petty cash for years in many businesses where whatever kind of business you have, there's usually petty cash laying around that maybe someone has 500 bucks in a drawer and they've got to use it to pay for lunch or whatever it is, and how we account for that. Um, I think out before cannabis, we mainly had. I'm trying to think of some other businesses, maybe even restaurants or what that might have a lot more cash than that, or fast food. Casinos was obviously the biggie. They deal with lots and lots of cash, and not only cash chips that are very valuable. Cannabis is most similar, I think, to the casinos because they have lots and lots of cash. They also have small things like cannabis that you can shove in your pockets. That would be kind of like the chips in a casino. So we've got to be watching very, very closely. Most dispensaries you're going to find have, they're required actually by law to have very good controls in place for, especially around security. You got lots of cameras. So first and foremost, around theft, you want to have good deterrence in place. If people, it's been proven that opportunity triangle, if people think, oh, they're not doing this, they're not counting my cash drawer, they're not doing this, that, if there's opportunity there, some people will steal, whether it's cannabis or the cash. So you just got to have very good controls about it. One of the primary internal controls in all of accounting in any business is segregation of duties. And so we always want anyone who has custody or access to the physical assets to have absolutely zero access of any kind to the books. We got to keep an iron wall between those two. So in the cannabis dispensary, that could be the manager of the store, it could be bud tenders, whoever. We do not want to ever let those people be touching the books. What they can do is touch the cash and count the cash. And so in a dispensary, we are going to have daily counts by tills, by whoever. A bud tender comes in the morning and they're going to get their own till and there's $400 in it, and at the end of the day they're going to have to account for that. And so those are going to come in and out. Then maybe we have a supervisor level that does counts and recounts as that signing off on that bud tender's till when they come in, so we can say, okay, wow, you lost $4 today, we don't know where it goes, maybe you gave someone too much change or whatever. And they'll note that if there's and why. And then of course you build up data over time. So if Joe, we notice that his till is short every third day by $10, we're going to start to wonder, is he or she doing something? So first off, if people know, wow, supervisors, we're doing double counts, triple counts, I've got cameras on me, we've got the POS system tracking cash sales, we got all these controls in place. Hopefully that's going to limit the amount of errors you have. But somewhere on site, whether you've got to have some. And so in some, I can think of other jobs where, maybe petty cash was $500 and it was literally in someone's drawer. And maybe it's the owner. He's got the drawer. Oh, you need $50 for lunch. Here, take a 50 and bring me back the receipt, or whatever that's going to be. In dispensaries, when we can have hundreds of thousands of dollars, we're either going to have a big giant safe of some kind. I've seen even dispensaries in old, including a former client here in Bend, buying bank locations to have huge vaults. And so you'll be surprised it doesn't take a lot of room to store 50, 80 grand of cash. So a lot of companies will have a safe, and maybe only the owner and maybe the top level manager have access to the safe, and then smaller amounts will be taken out and broken up. You keep breaking it up into smaller amounts until you get down to that till level. And so maybe every shift you're going to do counts and supervisor counts of a bud tender's shift, and then maybe once a day the manager is going to count all the different super collecting those tills that are basically sales, but maybe the supervisor is taking out $50 for lunch or whatever it is, or go buy supplies. And so we want to make sure if money's taken out of that big main safe, that $50 is taken out, what's going to for $50. So if you go to Home Depot, and it's exactly $50, the safe goes down 50 in cash, but it goes up 50 in expenses. So at the end of the day, if you started out with 10 grand in that safe, and at the end of the day there's only 9 grand, that's going to be reconciled out to the expenses you got plus or minus any sales. And so we will make sure I'm not missing any questions here. So daily at dispensaries, in our program we have a what's called a dispensary cash control template. It's done daily. So we're going to do lots of checks and double checks of counts. We're going to tie in sales to the POS system. We're going to tie all expenses back to actual receipts. And that's all going to be done by these bud tenders, supervisors, and managers that have no access to the accounting system. And so and then when the accountant comes in, you're going to be able to double check, okay, here's what we should have. So you see the books and records. We started the day with 10 grand in cash. We had 5 grand in sales, so that knocks us up to 15, and we spent 500, so we should have 14,500 at the end of the day. You've got that number in the books. But maybe when they count it, they say, we don't have 14,500, we got 14,400. $100 is gone, so that's going to be the variance for the day. Maybe, oh, Sally still had that left over from lunch. She forgot to put it back in the safe. Maybe we can go find it. If we can't find it, it's a variance where we're going to record it. And as we track this day in and day out, the variances usually will decrease because we'll start to figure out, why is this wrong? Where did we go wrong? We made a mistake. Is there a control missing or whatever? And so we want to make darn sure that you've got. So first of all, on all these counts and daily counts and the revenues coming in, that's going to tie to the POS. That's going to be very tightly controlled. Where we need to think about on the petty cash side is more expenses. So in most cases for accounting, we want people to use the company credit card or a check for a bill. If they really need something that they want to pay cash for, we'll see a lot of times in dispensaries, the farmer brings over 4 pounds of pot and they want to just say, here's 8 grand in cash. They can unload some of that cash. So we want to make darn sure we have an expense limit. So if someone's spending over $1,000, the top level manager and or the owner are giving approval. We want to make sure that we have definitely support for every last expense. We might want to make sure we have someone super dependable to oversee and manage the cash, and not, this person does not be an accountant at all. We definitely don't want the accountant doing that role because they're going to be in the books, and we want to make sure they're doing this daily. So by the way, we're going to give, or we've already put in here, our cannabis accounting cleanup system as well. Does anyone have any questions around or comments around how you all handle cash? It is a big deal. So on the books itself, so you're going to have, and I got to one client, he had 20 different general ledger numbers for every till, every single till, every safe. You don't need to have that. I want to have one number for cash at that building. And maybe, so say there's 3 buildings, maybe I'm going to have cash in building 1 on the general ledger, cash in building 2, cash in building 3 if there's 3 different dispensaries, but just one grand total of cash that we're going to tie out every day from top to bottom. Now, people are like, how do I reconcile that? It's not a checking account. How can you do accounting? You do accounting, that safe is just like a Wells Fargo. So maybe you have a Wells Fargo or a Chase Bank account also. You have that account, you're going to reconcile that account every month, and Wells Fargo has their own safe and they're protecting your client's money over there. But the safe at the store is just like, instead of Wells Fargo, it's your company safe. Same deal. We can reconcile that cash account every month. If we're doing it daily, the end of the month reconciliation will be super simple to do. So let me think. Avanesh, are there any alternative banks for cannabis companies who are not open up a bank account? Yes, there are many. So if you Google cannabis options. So most states have an option. So, for example, in Oregon, we have Maps Credit Union. In Oklahoma, I think they have Fidelity and a couple others. So most states have some kind of banking solution that is banking cannabis. Let me just look what Cannabis Banks. So I'll try to find some more info on this. Last time I Googled this, about 8% of U.S. financial institutions did offer some form of banking. That's going to improve over this year. You know, we may see cannabis descheduled if the Safe Banking Act passes, which I think there's a good chance of. We may have a lot of banking coming on board, and not just banking. It'd be great to see PayPal, Stripe, Square get off their bandwagon and allow this. It's nuts. We're legal in all these states. I think we're up to 16 recreational states now and maybe over 40 medical states. Things are changing quickly. Just in the last couple of weeks, we've seen Virginia and New York pass. So things are really, states are not waiting around for the feds, even though the feds are moving. So we can see that as well. Stephen, can we cover expense photo? Yeah, so yeah, there are tons of expense receipt apps. And so make sure your employees, there is nothing easier. HubDoc, Receipt, Expensify, just Google expense apps or on your phone. Basically, many of them will take a picture, many of them will even smart code right into the system, go directly to the accountant as well. And so, yeah, make sure your people have those apps and are using them. We want a receipt immediately. And I tell people, my clients, like if you're, and there's many places like Home Depot, for example, that will just send you the receipt electronic wherever you want immediately. So, and if not, say you're at Subway, plop them, you don't even have to, you're checking out, you're paying with your thing. She says, do you want a receipt? Or he, get a receipt, plop it down on the counter, shoot the thing, send it to where it goes before you even walk away from the cash register. It literally takes 5 seconds. So there's no excuse for it in this day and age for people not having good receipts and records for these cash. Now that said, if you're using a company card and not the cash, that's even better. But if you're using cash, get that receipt right there, and make darn sure if whoever and don't let you don't want 10 different people taking money to go buy things. Try to have it be one person or two person, and you'll get better as well. Inventory management solutions. Yeah, the best inventory management solution is our program, Dope CFO. We have the correct tools to do cost accounting. There is no inventory software solution that you're going to be able to do cannabis accounting and cost accounting correctly for farming, for processing, for product manufacture, and all the different tools and knowledge we need. That said, if you're in processing or making, say, gummy bears, you might need a solution like Fishbowl or whatever that's a non-cannabis solution to get that as well. But right now, if you're in cannabis, you're going to be using an accounting system. Most are going to be using something like Accounting Suite, QuickBooks, or Xero. You're going to be using a POS system. If you're a dispensary, one of hundreds, you're going to be using a seed to sale system like Metric or MJ Freeway or BioTrack. They're all horrible in my opinion, but we're stuck with them anyway. And so you need a toolbox of tools to do the correct cost accounting outside of that. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I think I hit all the questions. If you want to learn more about our program, Dope CFO, come to our website. You can find me here on Facebook or be at dopecfo.com. I'm typing that in as well. So you'll see my email. But anyway, yeah, we have the tools, the training, the education, the marketing system, the community. We have pretty much every last thing to run a good cannabis or CBD firm. If you're sitting on the fence, don't be that person 2-3 years from now that says, wow, I wish I got into cannabis accounting 2 to 3 years ago. Do it now. If you're an accountant, bookkeeper, CPA, you will see a birth of a niche like this one time in your lifetime. That's my prediction, and it's happening right now. So we're having many people have great success, and so let us know if you want to learn more. Thanks everyone for joining.